there, Free Spirit Beaters. This is Kristen Fagan here with a new episode of Free Spirit Beading here on the Soft Flex Company YouTube channel. Who do I have in here with me today? I am excited. We had a vote over on the Soft Flex VIB Facebook group, talking about which combination of beads I should use in my design today, and I'm ready to reveal what that is. I'm here, Soft Flex Company, welcome. It's Damien here with us today, helping to answer your questions and share some links for the products and stuff I'm talking about. So yeah, who else is here? I want to know if you have been following along with the votes on the Facebook group. Hi Pamela, welcome. And if you remember which one you liked, if you were following along, if you liked combination of beads A, B, or C. A is the one that had some garnet slabs in it. B was very neutral, had the large triangle crystal, Swarovski crystal in there, and C was a lot more dramatic with the black contrast with the, Pamela chose A. Yeah, those garnet beads are really lovely. Lori, hi, yes, welcome, welcome, good to see you. How's everyone doing on this fine Monday? So what my challenge, was to incorporate some of our, they're actually Austrian crystal Squaredelle line. We have the spacer beads, toggles, and some charms. And so that was my challenge to start. And I don't know how you guys get started beading, but I tend to have a couple of things in mind I want to use. And then I go through my stash to see what kind of stuff will go with that. And then I kind of make little piles. I usually have like 1, 2, maybe 3 piles, and decide from there. Yay, I'm glad you're able to catch me live today too, Pamela. Gloria says she chose A and B. Couldn't decide. Lori missed the vote. That's okay. We had a ton of votes, so it was fun to go through them. And so I had 3 piles of beads that I had gathered from my stash, and I just was stumped. I looked at it, said, which one do I want to go with? And thought, you know what would be fun was to ask you guys and to ask everyone in the Facebook group what they would like to see, which grouping was their favorite, and then that would help me decide what to create from there. So I tallied up all the, I actually shared it with our Instagram, Facebook community too. We had a few votes on there as well. So I tallied up the votes from the Facebook group and the Instagram page. So if you are on Instagram and you want to check us out over there, we're Soft Flex Company on Instagram, just at Soft Flex Company. And so here's my little tally of what everyone chose. And I will say that A and C were quite close, but we did have C is our winner. So I had 40 votes for C, 33 votes for A, and 23 votes for B. I did cut it off, I think, on sometime on Saturday, and that's when I tallied them up. Hi Elizabeth, glad you made it today. So we were just talking about our winning combination. So I'm going to be designing with the group that was shown on C today. That was our winner. So a couple of things before I get started. Let me just see what we've got. Oh, online this week, we have an extra 10% off on all of our closeouts. So all of our closeouts are 30% off normally. So this week up until tomorrow, today is, let's see, what's today's date? So up until April 16th, which is tomorrow night at midnight Pacific time, you can get an extra 10% off Those are ready markdown closeouts. They're like ready 30% off. And so you're gonna get an extra 10%. And you don't have to do anything, no coupon code needed. You just add it to your cart and you'll see the extra discount taken off in your cart. If you get your order up to $50 and you're in the United States, you get free shipping. So that's always great too. Go ahead and, you know, grab some things on closeout and maybe throw in some wire or anything else, crimps, anything else you might need to get up to $50. And then you can use free shipping at checkout. We did load up a few new items into closeout, so that was kind of nice too. We have some new craft wire. We have some half round and some colors that we're closing out, so we went and uploaded some of those. Wire protectors were uploaded into closeouts. We had some new tools and books, things like that. So there's a bunch of new stuff that got put in there last week for this sale so that you guys can take advantage of the extra 10% off and have a couple of new things to choose from too. So that's what we've got going on over on the website, www.softflexcompany.com. And today we are going to be making, I did a little sketch for this one. We are going to make a multi-strand design. I tend to have to think about multi-strand designs a little bit more. So that is why I did a sketch here. We are gonna be using 3 strands. I cut 3 strands of Soft Flex beading wire. I did about 18 inches a piece, but each strand is gonna be slightly different. The top strand is gonna be 13 inches, then we've got 14 inches, and then we got 15 inches. We're gonna connect over here to some Squaredelle toggles that I'm using as connectors. And then I'm gonna have you guys help me decide what we should do up the back, because I have a couple of options I was thinking about. And so when we take a look at the design, maybe you guys can help me decide which way we wanna handle the back of the necklace. And if we have time, we're gonna do some earrings too. I did start stringing a little bit for the multi-strand design, so you guys don't have to sit and watch me string a ton of beads. So hopefully we have some time to make a pair of earrings to match also. So that's what we're gonna be working with today. Let me go ahead and turn you guys down to the beading table and we could take a look of all of our supplies and get going. I'm also working with a bead board today. Do you guys use bead boards? I find they're helpful when I'm working with multi-strand designs. But I don't use my bead board that much. I use a bead mat most of the time. So tools, I've got my Soft Flex professional cutters. I've got magical crimping pliers. You can also use regular crimping pliers for, we're gonna be using a 2x2 millimeter crimp tube. So if you don't have the magical, but you know, I always like the magical and I like the finished look that they give. A pair of chain nose pliers, a pair of round nose pliers, and then I'm using these little mini bead stoppers today. I like the mini when I do multi-strand designs. So these are the little guys. If you don't have any of these, they're really great for stopping your beads from rolling all over the place. And if you try to pick up your design to take a look at where it is laying, you don't have to worry about those beads just falling all over, which is awesome. I'm using black onyx Soft Flex beading wire in medium diameter. It's the 0.019. I got a roll of 30 feet of it here. Our beading wire, if you're not familiar with it, is a micro braided stainless steel that's nylon coated, and the color is put on the wire before the coating, so you don't have any problems with chipping or tarnishing or anything like that. It's really, really nice quality. It's really soft. It's smooth on your skin. You can wear it in and out of water. Yeah, very flexible. So I'm using black onyx today. I've got some lobster clasps here. These are 12 millimeter gold plated lobster clasps. We may or may not use these depending on what we decide to do with the back of our necklace, but I've got them here just in case. I've got an eye pin. We're just gonna need one eye pin. This is a 2-inch gold plated eye pin. You could also use some craft wire if you don't happen to have an eye pin. And I have some jump rings. And all right, so let's get busy on the beads. So I've got 2 of these toggles. These are the Squaredelle toggles I was talking about. So these are Austrian crystal, and this is the ruby red cyan color. It's got 4 little inlays on each side. It's 18 karat gold, and even the toggle has a little ruby red on each side of the bar as well. They come in a pack of 2. They are on closeout. So they are regularly priced $17. Right now with the 30% off and then an extra 10% off, you're gonna get a package of 2 for $10.71. So that's a great deal. Nilay from Silver Silk mentioned in one of his tutorials that Soft Flex crimp tubes are the best. I need to purchase some. Yes, Lori, you really do. They are wonderful. We absolutely love our crimp tubes. They are double the wall thickness of most on the market. They're seamless, they're super strong, and we use them for everything. So we really take a lot of pride in making sure we create a good crimp tube for you. So we are going to use these little 2 millimeter crimp tubes today. They're 2 by 2 millimeters in the gold filled color. Lori said I meant crimp tubes. Yeah, I knew what you meant. And to match our toggle, we've got these Squaredelles here. They again are the ruby. Let's see if the color will pick up. They're kind of dark, but they have a nice deep red ruby color. I'm using the 6 millimeter with the gold plated metal, but we do sell them in 4, 6, 8 millimeter, as well as blackened, silver, and gold plated. These again are on closeout. So I'm using the 6 millimeter gold plated. They're regularly $19.79. They're on sale for $12.46. And I think you get a package of about 15 if I'm correct there. And I'm using about a half a package in this design we're doing today. Maybe a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I've got about 12 of them total, I think, is what we're actually using. And then for beads, I've got a strand of African brass beads. I picked these up in Tucson, so I'm not sure exactly where you can find them, but they are 2 millimeters. They are like a brass color, and they have facets all around. See how they sparkle? You've got like little facets all the way around. But if you find another 2 millimeter kind of gold or brass bead, you'll be able to have a similar effect. I'm also using these adorable onyx beads that I bought during one of Mike's sales. So this was a strand of this. And these are all black onyx. Oh, you know what? I didn't, did they say what size they are? 8 by 6 millimeter oval. So they're an 8 by 6 millimeter oval bead. And if you guys haven't participated in one of our live sales, we do live bead sales on our Facebook page at Soft Flex Company on Facebook. Let me just move these guys out of the way. If you ever want to join us over there, we do them every, I would probably say like every 3 weeks or so. So 3 weeks to 4 weeks, we have a sale over there. I've got these large Swarovski crystal rondelles in black. They're 10 millimeters. And I have 4 here, 5, but I have 2 on the design I started. So we're using 6 total. And then I've got these 8 millimeter golden, they're called like golden shadow, I believe. These are also Swarovski crystals. And I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We probably need about 8 to 10 of these. We'll see what it looks like when we finish. And lastly, I've got these little red, they're probably red Siam also, but they are Swarovski crystal red. They measure about 6 millimeter. They could be 5 millimeter. They were kind of 5 or 6 millimeter on the, when I measured them with the tape measure. So those are all of our beads we're using, all of our supplies. And let me move over this beadboard. So I know a lot of people really liked those garnet slabs, and I think you guys are curious as how you can design with beads like that. So I'm hoping to do a future video with the garnet. I'll show you guys the garnet here. But this was, when we did the vote, this was with vote A. These are some garnet slabs. So I hope to do a video in the future, or if nothing else, if I make something with these, I'll post a picture in our VIB group and on our email list somewhere so you guys can see how to use those. And the other change I made is I showed in the picture these little seed beads, but when number C1, I felt like they had a little too much like rainbowy color going on in there to match with the red and black. So I did change those out to these brass beads instead. But if you have like a golden seed bead, you can get away with a very similar design using something like that. And lastly, in design grouping number B, letter B, we had these Swarovski crystal triangles. And I believe that this was another one that a few people said they wanted to see what I did with this. I did actually create a bracelet, a knitted bracelet with one of these. So if you're curious, you can go over to www.softflexcompany.com, click on the School of Designs, look in the free beading project section, and you can look under bracelets or under knitted jewelry, and you'll see that design in there that I used with this one. Elizabeth said she really likes the crimp tubes as well. Thanks, Liz. Yeah, our crimp tubes are just, you can't beat them. And Joanne, you can get the faceted nugget beads at the Bead Chest shop on Etsy. They have silver, gold, and brass. Love them. They have a large hole. Yeah, you're talking about these guys here, the ones I picked up in Tucson. I know I've seen them online. So if you Googled like brass, 2 millimeter brass faceted beads, I'm sure you'd find them. And they do have a nice size hole. So you can get a few strands. Let's see if I can get a look at that. See that? So you can get a few strands in there, which is nice. It's not like a teeny tiny hole. It's like a good size hole. So here is what I've got started for our multi-strand necklace. We've got this really fun centerpiece here that we're gonna add. We've got some charms here I wanna play with. That shop, so the Bead Chest shop on Etsy has a large selection of African beads of all types. That's really nice to know, Joanne, because I love African beads and I tend to pick some up whenever I'm in Tucson, but I don't always get a whole lot throughout the year. So that's a good tip. Thank you for sharing that. So yeah, we've got like a super decadent thing going on here. I don't know if anyone else is watching Games of Thrones. I haven't seen the new one yet, but I'm catching up on the old seasons. And when I was making this, I said, this feels very Games of Thrones, like regal, very regal to me. What do you guys think? I think I'm being inspired by all of the adornment everyone has on in that show. So as I showed you guys in the sketch, this first strand is 13 inches. And how I set this up, I'll just show you guys how I started. I connected my Soft Flex wire through a crimp tube that I then crimped with the magical crimping pliers, all 3 of them. And each strand started out as 18 inches so that I had plenty to work with. I'm just gonna move this, move that out over the way here. And let's take a look at this one first, just so you guys can see the pattern going on here. So we've got an onyx bead, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got 6 of the brass beads. Got onyx, 6 brass, onyx, 6 brass, onyx, 6 brass, and I did that for 4. Then we've got the red crystal, the golden bead, a golden shadow crystal, the brass bead, the red crystal, and then I repeated the 6, the onyx, the 6, and then I've got, this is my center here. So in the center I've got crystal, brass bead, golden crystal, and then there are those Squaredelle spacers. So I think you can see the color a little bit better here than when I was holding it. They're really pretty. And so this is an 8mm crystal here, next to a 6mm Squaredelle, next to a 10mm rondelle. So just so you have an idea of the different sizes that we're using there. So that's my centerpiece. Golden shadow, Squaredelle, black, Squaredelle, golden shadow, and then brass bead, and then red again. And then I did, oh my gosh, this is so 3Me worthy. Is that what you're saying, Lori? And throne, yes, seriously, right? So throne worthy. I agree. After I was making it, I go, oh my gosh, I feel like I think I know where my inspiration came from. So we've got the brass beads, the onyx, the red, the golden. And that is our first pattern for strand 1. I know it's hard on the videos with spelling because I don't think it really catches you when you do any spell check. The second strand, I just went straight with these brass beads. So I wanted, since this one has a lot going on, I just wanted the second strand to be really simple, and I did the whole thing, 14 inches of the brass beads. And so now we're up to strand 3, and I did not finish this one. So I want to finish this with you guys. So this is what I've got going on for 3. We're at the halfway mark here. So we've got a red crystal, the brass bead, onyx, 3 brass beads, onyx, 3 brass beads, red crystal, brass bead, onyx, 3 brass beads, onyx, 3, onyx, 3, onyx, brass bead, red crystal, 3, onyx, And then I've got this same little grouping that I did in the center here, I'm doing off to the side. So I've got the red, the brass, the golden, the Squaredelle, black, Squaredelle, golden, brass, red, and then I came down with 2 red onyx, and now we're down into the center. So this is what I'd like to put in the center. And this is where your eye pin comes in handy. So what I did on the back here is I'm actually just gonna cut this free and do this again with you guys so you can see what I did. I'm gonna have to find a regal outfit worthy of this design. So this is a little black flower. It's kind of a carved flower. I know that we sell similar things like this in Mike's sale. And then it's got a hole running up and down. So you can either string it sideways or you can string it up and down. We're gonna use it up and down. So you're gonna take your head pin. I've got a 2-inch head pin here. I'm just gonna feed the head pin down, and I want the head pin to be facing in that direction so that when it hangs, my necklace is gonna go through this way here, and it hangs down. So we're gonna turn it over, and I'm gonna take a chain nose plier. I just want this to be in this direction. So I'm gonna take my chain nose plier and I'm just gonna bend it up like that. And then I'm gonna take my round nose plier. What I'm doing down here is creating another loop so that I can attach this tassel to it. And I think I want my loop to be headed in this direction. So I'm gonna grab a hold of the wire and I'm just gonna twist it down and around the tool like that, you can see. And then I'm gonna swap my tool so I want this to go down and around. I'm just gonna take my finger and wrap that wire back around my tool so I create a loop like that. And then I can take that out. And then I'm gonna grab a hold of that loop with my chain nose plier again. And I'm just gonna wrap the bottom of this around. And this is gonna be kind of hidden, so you don't have to be, it's gonna be just sort of at the bottom of your flower here. So you're not gonna see all of this stuff in the back. But you do wanna make sure that the stuff in the back doesn't get stuck on anyone's clothing. So that is something to think about when you are finishing this. I think I'm just gonna cut this piece off here. And I'm gonna use the flat side of my cutter, my flush cutter, up as close as I can to my loop there. And I'm using the flat side so that I get a nice clean cut. To make sure that this thing doesn't snag on anybody's clothing, you're just gonna come back with your chain nose pliers and push in that wire that's sticking up. And sometimes I fiddle with my fingers a lot to get it in a position where I'm comfortable. And then you kind of go like that. I just rub it to make sure that nothing is snagging. And if nothing is hitting my thumb or my finger, then I feel comfortable knowing that that is nice and snug in there. So now I have a little loop at the bottom and a little loop at the top. I have this long tassel here, which I'm debating about cutting this down. What do you guys think? I think we'll see what it looks like when we put it on there, but I am debating about snipping off some of this tassel and making it a little bit shorter. It's really quite long. And I'm just gonna slide my jump ring from my tassel in there and give it a close. And that's gonna be in our center. So here's my bead stoppers. I should show you guys that. I've got these little bead stoppers on the end of all of my wires so that I am secure. I'm not gonna lose them as I'm working. So now I'm just gonna pinch the ends to remove the bead stopper. And then I can string on this centerpiece here. And now what I'm gonna do is repeat this pattern back on the right side. So we started with a brass bead and then we went to an onyx bead. So do I have any Game of Thrones fans here that did get to watch the new episode? I think was last night. No spoilers, please, but I just want to know if you were watching the long-awaited episode. I didn't think I'd be into this series. I actually never watched it till just recently. Damien watched it. I just finished season 6 for those of you that are fans, and it was a really good season. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, like I said, it took me a long time to watch it. I didn't think I'd be really into it. I think I tried to watch the first episode a few times and I just, wasn't for me. But for some reason it clicked this last time I tried to watch it and I have been so hooked. I just feel like I live there now and I'm a part of these people's lives. I think that's what happens when you binge watch something, is you become like a part of their life. It's so interesting. I need to ask you a question about making a macrame loop. Okay. What can I help you with? I do a few macrame designs, but I'm not a macrame expert. So now I've done an onyx, a brass, a red, a brass, an onyx, a brass, a red, a brass, and then I'm gonna do this little section here over on this side again. So next is the golden shadow. And then if you need to send me an email, you can send it to Kristen, Kristen, at softflexcompany.com, and I can see if I can help you out. I don't use a button closure very often, but I do have a design that I did use it on, so I can take a look at that design and see if I can help you with that closure. So I did a golden shadow, a squaredelle, a black rondelle, another squaredelle, and a golden shadow. And then a brass bead. And then a red one. And then brass again. Lori says, "You are so funny. I know what you mean about binge watching a series and trying to get caught up." Yeah, I didn't think I'd watch it as fast as I've been watching it either. It's totally taken over my life. It's been really funny, but I kind of enjoy getting sucked up into things like that. And then once it's over, I take a break and I don't watch anything for a little while. Because it's almost like reading a really good book. You know, I totally just want to keep going, keep going. So I'm looking over here. At this point, I have to add 3 brass beads. You just want to finish the book. You just want to keep reading. And then when it's done, I usually take a break before I start my next book. I feel like binge watching is a lot like that. And now I go back to a red crystal. And then I do 1. I think these crystal Squaredelle little spacer beads just really give things a royal look. They are so pretty and sparkly. Onyx, where am I at here? And then I gotta do this one. So 3 brass beads. And then back to an onyx. 3 more brass beads. Another onyx. And then make sure that I'm kind of following my same pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 1 more. Everyone else have a nice weekend? What did you guys do this weekend? I did a lot of nesting. I've been kind of cleaning things out. I cleaned out my garage. I worked on my studio a couple weeks ago and I still need some stuff to do there. I did some cleaning in my kids' rooms. It was just sort of like definitely a spring cleaning going on over here. But it's also so beautiful out, so I've been trying to get outside as I can too. We are in wildflower season here in Arizona. It's very short-lived, so you gotta get out and enjoy it while you can. But it's really nice for a desert that's pretty brown most of the time, or with a little bit of green. It's nice to see so much color. And red. In your neck of the woods, are you starting to see signs of spring yet, or is it still winter's holding on? All right, so I put my bead stopper. I'm done with that guy. And I'm just gonna move this. So here's what I did on the one end. And like I said, this is actually a toggle, and I'm using it sort of in a way of a connector. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach these on the other side with the crimps. I got out on my bike last week, had to pump up all my tires, but that was really nice to get outside, and then I kept stopping along the way and taking pictures of flowers. So I'm going to one at a time. I'm going to start with the shortest strand. This first one is the 13-inch strand. I'm going to slide on my 2 millimeter by 2 by 2 millimeter crimp tube. And then I'm going to string on the left side, the left hoop there of this toggle that I'm using as a connector. Take your wire back through your crimp tube and then just slide it down, pull on the tail and slide it down towards your beads, pull on the tail. And I like to look and see how large my loop is on the other side so that I make it similar. I'm thinking about naming my bike. It's like a beach cruiser, calling it a desert cruiser, and it's bright yellow. Maybe I was thinking sunny or sunshine, or maybe Little Miss Sunshine. Give her a name. So before I crimp, I'm just sort of checking my length here. I'm putting my necklace in the shape it's gonna be so that I don't pull it too tight and then it doesn't wanna lay nicely. So that is what I'm fiddling with right now. Because once you crimp, you are done. So I think I feel pretty good about that. There's a little bit of space there towards the crimp, which is okay, especially you want it to hang really nicely. And when I'm comfortable with it, I'm gonna go ahead and use my magical crimping pliers. I take this crimp tube. If you look at these pliers, there's a notch on each side here. So I'm going to take my 2 by 2 millimeter crimp tube, which is the only size crimp tube that works with this, and I'm going to give it a good squeeze. And it should give it a nice ravioli. See, that did not pinch my corners. So I'm going to put it back in and do it again. I find if I don't have my corners pinched right in the beginning, it just doesn't really want to do the next part. Let me switch the tool to the other side and see. Okay, so once my corners are pinched, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, place it back in there, give it a squeeze and pump around until I get a nice... What is the longest length of my necklace? So right now I've got 13, 14, and 15 inches, and then I'm gonna be stringing up the back as well. And I haven't decided yet how long I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see how this looks when we get this part done. So now I'm taking the second strand, which I've got at 14 inches. And I'm stringing this through the middle hole of the toggle that I'm using as a connector and back through the crimp tube. And then once again, just sort of fiddling with that crimp tube until I feel I like it. And I also lay it down, make sure that it is laying nicely. should pick this up a little bit. Come back up. Give that crimp a nice squeeze. Turn it on its side, put it back in that notch. Give it another squeeze. Go all the way around. So I'm trying to decide on the back end if we want to add a clasp. So in that case, it would be a shorter necklace with a clasp, or if we want to braid it up the back and have it be a little bit of a longer necklace. I'm actually gonna measure this one because I don't think I measured this last one. Make sure that I've got about 15 inches is what I was expecting. 15. To get a hold of me, you'd have to email me. So that would be Kristen, Kristen, at softflexcompany.com. And that is how you can send me a question, get a hold of me. So now I strung on my last crimp tube, and I'm gonna go in through this third loop here. Thanks, Damien. Damien just shared my email address if you need to get a hold of me. And let's get this last one in here. Again, I'm just going to before I do that, let me make sure I didn't tangle this as I, there we go. Do you guys work with multi-strand designs often? I do find they do take a lot more thought and planning. But they're such a pretty design. I just, a little more thought and planning than I do for most of my work. Elizabeth says, no, she doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, I will say, like, I spent about 4 hours preparing, figuring out, I think part of it too is just figuring out when you've got so many beads you're working with, how you want to address them, and, you know, how many you want to be on each strand. And I think if I were, sometimes you can get a little too complicated, and I wanted to make sure I had that like middle strand in there to kind of simplify it a little bit. All right, so once you've got it crimped, you can use your flush cutters to trim off the tail. You can go with the flat side all the way up to that crimp. Trim it all the way as close as you can. And we've got the bottom portion of our necklace done. So these are actually toggles, as I said earlier. So this, what that means is a toggle is usually a clasp, and you'd put this bar through it, and that is how you would connect it. So here's one option, is I can add these bars here and then connect wire up the top. So I would put the bar, I'd string some Soft Flex through the back here, and then we just attach it just like that on either side. Here, I want to show you this down here too. Or we can just string some wire through the top of these Squaredelle toggles and attach a lobster clasp in the back, a little more traditional. And then lastly, we can use the Soft Flex wire, string it here, and I was thinking about braiding it and making it with no clasp, and then you just would put it over your head. Just depends how long you want it to be. Which idea sounds interesting to you? Maybe I can flip this for a second. Let's see. I'm not sure how this is gonna work, but you're gonna see me for a minute. And let me see if I can make this. All right, we'll just let it sit for a second there. So this is how it would look if it was short and I had my toggle there, or I can make it be really long and have it sort of hang down here. Woo. My tripod doesn't totally cooperate with me doing this, so hopefully I gave you guys an idea of what I was thinking. So Liz is saying too, just attach wire to the connectors and add a lobster clasp in the back. I kind of like the idea of using the toggle bars too. I think they'd be interesting. I like it long enough to slip over your neck or use the toggle in the front. So we got one vote for each of them, really. So we got the toggle in the front, or we've got a long necklace, or we've got a lobster clasp. Okay, so we've got a vote from Rose and a vote from Liz. And I have a couple more people chime in which idea they'd like me to try so that we can see where we want to go with it. Soft Flex Company says the long necklace idea. So we got 2 for long, and Liz says she also likes the toggle in the front too. I kind of like the idea of trying the toggle in the front. Lori says, I like the toggle and to make it shorter. Okay, cool. I think that's what we'll go with. So if this is 13 inches here, we would want about 5 inches along the back to make an 18-inch necklace. I actually think it may even be nicer, a little shorter than that. So maybe I'm gonna go with 4 inches of Soft Flex. I am gonna pull out about 6 inches. Actually, I think I'll double it. I'll pull out 12 inches of Soft Flex, just because I like to make sure I have plenty. Yellow submarine. For my bike. Yellow submarine. I'm not sure. That may entice the bike to just make me fall down under. I don't know about that. It's a cute name though. Is that a Beatles reference? I am known to just fall off things. I'm pretty clumsy. All right, so I'm going to take out 2 more little 2x2 crimp tubes in gold felt, and I strung my Soft Flex wire through the toggle clasp, the little chain here at the bottom. I'm going to string on the crimp. Liz says, me too. Yes, I'm known to just fall off stuff with no rhyme or reason for why. This toggle has like a 3 rings at the bottom there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and attach right to that. I'm gonna use my magical crimper again. Trim off the ends. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So this is just going to fit right in there. Awesome. And let's see. So what do you guys think? If this is about, let me measure this part here. From here to here, 7.5. So those are about, I would say 14 inches because you've got this little guy here. So that's about 14 inches. How long should I make the back and the back? Should I make the Soft Flex about 4 inches long? Let me see where I want it to sit. If you want those little toggles to be kind of at your collarbone, does anyone else feel like this is the most awkward part of trying to decide on a design, is like putting it on your neck and seeing where it lays? This part's always the most awkward. You know what? Looking at it, this seems like a really great length. I ended up cutting 12 inches of wire, and it does make the necklace kind of long, but it allows these toggles to show up in the front instead of being too far back. So what did I end up having here? So after I crimped it, I've got 10.5 left. So I think I'm just gonna leave what I've got here what I have. I'm not going to cut any more down. I'm just going to attach it exactly to the other side. You got to put your crimp on first, then your toggle bar. I put it through those 3 little rings on the end of your toggle bar and then back through. And so that'll be my little extender. And like I said, Soft Flex is really comfortable on the back of your neck, so you don't even have to bead it if you don't want to. You can just leave it. And this ends up being about 9.5 inches. I think I'm gonna have it be a little bit bigger, so about 10 inches. That is true. Are you saying with the toggle in general and having it forward, it makes it a little bit easier to maneuver and put on? You don't need as much help as you may need with a lobster clasp. Yeah. And to be honest, if I didn't use these bars, I'm not sure how else I would be able to utilize them. And they do have these beautiful little rubies on each side, so I think it's gonna look quite nice. So I ended up making this strand here about 10 inches, which if you like the design but you don't want it to be quite as long, I would probably go ahead and shorten, not the back, but shorten these strands in the front, because you do want the toggle part to be seen. So that's going to be on one side, and that's going to be on the other side, just like that. And then it'll hang from behind there. I'll put this on when I turn the camera around so you guys can see it a little more easily. So now what do we think about this tassel? Do you think it's too long, or you think it's all right where it is? I'm gonna measure it. It's pretty long. So if I measure this guy here, it's 4 inches. It's a 4-inch tassel. I'm thinking about taking off an inch, making it a 3-inch tassel. It just feels a little extra long to me. And that would take it down to about here. Three-inch sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna try 3, and then you can always trim it lower if you wanted to. But I'm gonna go ahead with just taking off 1 inch down at the bottom there. And I also have some fun little charms. Well, see, I can't use the toggle on one side only because of the way they are. They have 3 holes on each end, on just the one end. And I need the 3 holes to make my connection on each side. So that's how I ended up doing it. But like I said, you could decide not to use the bars at all and just attach wire here and do a lobster clasp in the back. And then you don't have that at all there. But I thought since I used the toggles, maybe I'll just try it and see. I'll take a picture of it with also just a lobster clasp, and I'll put that in the VIB group so you guys can decide how you like it. that was kind of an easier way. So I have some cute little charms here too. I have a little Om charm. I have a little Hamsa hand charm. And I think I originally had this one in the picture. Was that one, but I'm not sure I like that one as much with it as I do this guy or this guy. I just want to add a little bit extra because I know this toggle is all black and I can already see myself wearing this with a black shirt because I have a lot of black shirts, and I'm thinking adding a little bit of chain and a charm at the bottom will help bring a little more contrast in here. What charm do you guys like? Rose says she likes the Om or the Hamsa. I agree. The Om. I like the Om a lot too. All right, we got 2 votes for the Om. Let's go ahead and do that one. So I have a little bit of chain here that I have a jump ring on each side. This chain comes down just a little bit longer than the toggle. So I think I'll just trim it. Just gonna cut off a couple of links and trim it using my cutters. And now my chain is, I have a 2.5 inch piece of chain and I have a jump ring on the top. And I'm going to add a jump ring on the bottom for my charm. So I'm just going to twist open. My jump ring. Slide it on the chain. I'm going to slide this charm on here too. And then I just twist this one closed. And then I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to open up this jump ring. So twist it open. And I'm going to attach it to where this tassel is. Let's see how that hangs. It might still be a little too long. It is. Let's cut off another half. Let's cut off another 1/2 inch. I kind of want the Om to show up on the tassel, not below it. All right, come on. There we go. And I'm just using the little tip of my magical crimping pliers as a second chain nose plier because it has a flat part right at the top here. So I'm just using that to grab a hold of it. And there we go. All right, cool. I'm going to put this on so you guys can see it as I turn it around. I think my brain is not gonna go any longer for a pair of earrings right now. I think I've hit my stride. All right, let's see where this, it turned out to be a little bit longer than I expected, but I like that because I do tend to wear longer earrings. I mean, longer necklaces. See, I'm thinking about earrings. So we've got a toggle on both sides. I'm just gonna take one toggle off and bring it around, attach it right there. So that's the top. And then here is the bottom. I think it ended up falling in quite a nice place, actually. So finally get to see it in its entirety. It's hard to catch it on the camera when something's so long. Perfect length, yeah, I like it. And they've got the little toggle guys up here. Pretty cool. And then I only have like the Soft Flex wire starts there and goes around my back. And it's really soft and comfortable and it makes it light. Thanks, it's beautiful, thank you. Now I just have to find like clothing that's worthy of this regal look here. Cut it longer, attach to one side, then go from there. Sorry, I missed the show. Oh, that's okay, Melanie. You can always, you know, after I end it, you can go back and watch it at any time to see the rest of it. I'm glad you were able to catch the end. So it was it's a big project. I will say doing multi-strand necklaces is a big project. There's a lot more to think about, a lot more to plan out. And like I said, my lengths were 13, 14, and 15 inches. But if you wanted this to do shorter here, like it could be up there and be just as beautiful, you would just shorten the lengths of each of these strands. And I found about an inch difference seemed to work really well. When you're using things like these connectors that have 3 holes, it makes it a little easier to keep your strand straight and just kind of organize it a little bit. But yeah, really happy with that. I'm gonna have to make this my Games of Thrones necklace. Maybe I will sit down and put this on when I'm watching my show so I can feel all regal and like I'm there. Yeah, the shorter length would be really pretty too. I think in my head, I thought it was gonna be shorter, but as it got put on, it ended up being longer than I anticipated. But I do like my necklaces longer, so I think this actually is a good fit for me. So just to recap, we've got closeouts on sale till tomorrow. April 16th is when that sale ends. We've got 30% off and then you get an extra 10% off. All of the Squaredelles that I used today are currently on sale. I use the 6mm, but we have them in 4 and 8mm. We also have them in like black and silver as well as the gold. And then I use the 3-strand toggle in the 18 karat gold to match. We have tons of other crystal colors too. So because they are on closeout, some of them are hit or miss. You might not be able to mix and match them quite as easily, but there are lots of really, really pretty colors. Montana blue and tanzanite and crystal AB and all sorts of peridot, emerald, all sorts of colors for those crystal Squaredelles. We also put some books on sale. We have some craft wire, some wire protectors. If you like to use wire protectors, go check those out. I don't think we'll be reordering them, so they're on closeout. Once they're gone, they're gone. We also put a pair of round nose pliers, I believe, on closeout. So if you happen to need another pair of round nose pliers, or maybe you teach and you'd like a few extra pairs on hand, that would be a great thing to pick up too. The April Showers kit has sold out. Sarah will be doing a live design challenge with that next week, so look forward to that. That will be on the Soft Flex Facebook page. Let's see what else. Oh, and if you did get a Flower Power kit, the deadline to post your designs in the Facebook group is coming up quickly. That is 4/16, so that's tomorrow as well. So get your designs posted in the group there, and then this way you get entered in to our giveaway to win one of our future kits. Let's see, you also get to see everything that all the other people are making with it, which is a lot of fun. We've got Sarah live on Facebook on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we have a new video from James this week here on YouTube, so be on the lookout for that. That will post here on our YouTube channel on Thursday. James is our wire wrapping guru, so he has something new for us this week. Be sure to like and subscribe here to our YouTube channel. Your likes, your subscribes really help us get noticed, to help other people find us when they're searching for things. So we really appreciate if you can give us some thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you're not already a subscriber. This way you will see all of our videos and know when we're here. Lastly, you can check out our blog. We have a beading blog over at softflexcompany.com, and we post, I think today we were doing a feature on our trios, and we plan to do that for the next few Mondays, giving you some inspiration on each of our trio packs. And then we've got do-it-yourself project ideas that we'll post on Wednesday. We have a color article from Margie Deeb that we're pulling from our archives, and we're posting that each Thursday. And then on Friday, if you missed any videos, you can check out our blog and get the video roundup of anything that we had going on for that week. So a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed our time together in our multi-strand necklace. I'll take some pictures and post them in the VIP group on Facebook, so you can get a little closer of an idea of what it looks like finished. And yeah, hopefully I'll use those garnets in a video soon, or at least share a design with you guys, because I was kind of hoping that A would win because I wanted to really use those garnets, but I did also think they were going to be a little bit tricky. So yeah, so we'll see what I end up making with those in the future. Thanks again, you guys. Great to see you this week. Catch me here again, same time next week at 11 a.m. Pacific time here on the Soft